So we're really happy to have both of you here today with us and to discuss some of the issues that we're all facing as business owners and marketers. So I wanted to start by asking both of you, and maybe we'll start with you, Mike. Why is it that you've continued to your marketing and your advertising during this time, even though business is down?
Well, it probably comes down to belief that we're going to end up to a new level of normalcy. I think when people are choosing, premium brands like the Peggy Hill team, like Sunflow, they're looking for consistency. They're not looking for a company that's going to be here one day, gone tomorrow. When you're offering warranties like Sunflow does, which is a lifetime warranty, well, we're going to be here in the good times, the bad times, and the normal times. Mm-hmm. So it was a decision that I discussed with Adam, my account manager at Rock and Cool, and we bounced some ideas around, and we really researched a lot of companies in general, and the companies that stayed advertising, stayed present, so their public actually knew that there was some consistency with that company, right? They flourished afterwards. So I did it for the belief. I also did it because it's just good business.
Mm-hmm. And Peggy, what do you think? And was it a hard decision to keep things going?
No.
Good.
I'm just still moving on. Like, I don't know how business stops. I mean, my business hasn't stopped, and I realize that things have slowed down, but the message is still important, and market share is still important. And they say the market share you lose during a shift or a crisis, you never get back. But the market share you gain during a crisis, you never lose. So that's always my thinking.
Right. And I know this is a very unique time. So the messaging is very important. What are some of the most important messages that you're trying to convey in your branding, marketing, and advertising during this period specifically?
So the messaging right now is just to let people know that we're still here and we want to help and that we're available. And the bigger part of the message is to let people know exactly what's going on. I feel that, the consumers are in a bit of a fog and they don't always know what's actually going on in real estate. I know the Toronto Real Estate Board released some numbers yesterday that said that sales were down 70%. What they didn't say is that the Barrie real estate market has only 1.2 months of inventory on its shelf. And when people are listing right now, they're selling in multiples. So, I just want people to have the data so they can make informed decisions. So and that's why I love radio so much, because the message is immediate, it's personal, and you can change it so much.
Mm-hmm. And Mike, anything specific in your messaging that's changed during this period?
Absolutely. This crisis that we've been in has evolved. When it first arrived, I launched my window and door company on the 13th of March. Well, Canada declared a crisis on the 12th. So maybe not the best timing, but it was a more sensitive market. So the advertising had to be more sensitive, as in it's all about caring, right? It's not about the sale. It's about caring. It's about doing what's right for you. Was definitely the messaging. And there's a quote that I live by John Maxwell. And the quote that no one cares what you know until they know how much you care. And so I drive that every single day, my sales guys and myself, that you have to care first, right? And so you have to be in touch with your client and understand where they're at, because we were all there at the same time. Nowadays, I believe we're kind of at the eye of the storm right now. Everything's kind of calm. People are getting a little more relaxed. So the advertising is a little more fun. Adam and I brought in the Wild Roofer again, have some fun, because that's a consistent message. And you can kind of get away with a few. And we're prepared that if the second wave hits, that we're going to have to get more serious. And it's all about caring again. So people understand that you're just not in it for yourself. You're in it for the whole community.
Yeah. And Mike, I just wanted to add one point. In your ads, you were one of the first people to mention social distance quoting. You're able to quickly adapt your message to let people know that you can carry on business as usual. You can sell someone a new roof. You can help someone with new windows and doors without really getting anywhere close to them.
I think we tagged it, Adam, that we were experts in social distance.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's true though, because any business right now, the assumptions are all out the window, because you don't know if the business is open, closed, how they're doing business, can they do business, right? So information to the public and through advertising and marketing is essential. I would think to make sure that people understand what changes have you made, what are you doing to be responsible to their health and safety, and then inviting them to come and participate with you in your business.
Right. Correct. Well said.
Peggy, you mentioned radio being immediate. I know you're both very strong radio advertisers in particular. You do use many different mediums, but radio is one of the strongest in both of your sort of mixes, I believe. So is there a reason you've made radio such a strong part of your marketing? And what does it have over any other medium that you enjoy, that you like?
I don't feel like you can really truly show empathy in an email or in a print ad or on a digital board. I think people really want to get to know you. They can tell by your voice, and you can get your message across in the way it's intended. I think media, there's so many forms of contacting people right now, and I know that response I get from a text isn't the same response I would get from a phone call. So to me, it's like radio is like still being able to get to the client and listen to my voice and listen to what I'm saying, where you could run the same ad in the paper and you wouldn't get the same result. Mm-hmm. Because people get to know you on an intimate level that I don't feel like you can get across in any other media.
Mike, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I got some just, put to mind that I try to do two things simultaneously. And it's hard to do on print. I think we've had an easy time to do it on radio. And that is, you have to drive home trust that no matter what, these customers can trust you. But also, it's my personality is I really don't do anything unless I have a little bit of fun. So you can have some fun too. So the experience, whether it's solar, I'm putting a lot of off grid on right now because people are they're scared and they don't want to rely on some formal ways of electricity. With the roof especially, that has been a project that I've been really proud. We can take an industry that really isn't, what's the word, maybe loved. And we've really turned that around, and we've changed the way homeowners feel about the roofing industry. We used to say we'd like to change, but now we have changed the way homeowners feel about the roofing industry because we've driven home trust and we've driven home fun. Like it's going to be a fun experience. And so,
I'm wondering if there are some changes that you've each made in your business during the crisis that you think will last and endure long after this is gone. It's just like a change in business that you've now seen that you may just keep doing. Peggy, anything that you've done that's going to stick around?
Actually, quite a bit. So the virtual open houses, and although it's not people's preferred method, I think it's around for a long time. I know, and again, it's just the consumer getting used to a different way of doing business. But virtually, the way you won't be able to walk into somebody's house. There won't be 6 people on a Sunday in your home. Like that's just never going to happen again, not for a long time. So that part of the equation is different.
And how about you, Mike?
You know what? That's a great question, and it's funny. We have just exploded in sales for windows, roofing, and solar. Where I think we're actually ahead of where we were last year. Just to let you know. Yeah. And but we weren't in the beginning. In the beginning, it was slow. Nobody was buying, and I understood that there was a process that I had to go through. But more importantly, there was a process that the customer had to go through. The customer had to feel comfortable actually being sold a roof, windows and doors, or solar virtually, like all over the phone. And we're getting so good at selling over the phone right now that we're also in conjunction doing a very high quality video where I'm going to be selling solar, windows and doors, and roofing as a package deal. I'm almost thinking to my photographer, well, I don't need any more, because the opposite, my customers are actually really accepting the selling over the phone. So what have I done differently? I've gained confidence, but so has the client to sell virtually. What am I going to continually do? Well, I think that this demonstrates, once again, building trust. And I really think that the companies that have strong salespeople and understand sales are going to last. The companies that don't have strong salespeople, they're in trouble, because this is a new game. You just can't have low hanging fruit. And I'm going to do a hybrid of sending the customers a lot of the digital information that I'm doing because of COVID-19, because of the crisis, but I'll continue to give that to them. Just there's more education, there's more trust building. And when I show up to the house, or my sales guys and women show up to the house, right, the sale's going to already be made because it's going to be done digitally. So that's what I'm excited about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it really has. This is forced innovation on every business, right? I mean, both of you are innovators, but for any business, they have to learn, they have to be creative, they have to adapt. And I heard as well a quote, it's not the strong that will survive, as those who can adapt will survive, right? So it's are there any other great lessons that you've kind of taken away as business people throughout these last 6-7 weeks and everything that's gone on? Anything that you've got some significant sort of takeaways?
Just that we obviously can change on a dime. Like, that part really threw me, because really everything we did was everything we used to do is completely different than what we do now. And like, we adapted, like, done. It's amazing when you're truly entrepreneurial, like, you can adapt to everything. Like, and it's funny because, I mean, obviously I really think COVID sucks, but in a lot of ways, it's given me the time to really innovate my business and to actually have the time to sit and focus. And, it's given me a lot of new opportunities that I never had before, because we're so busy we don't have time. But I think it's going to be better for everyone, because people have actually had the time to sit and think and innovate and make some changes that are obviously needed. Like, we have to keep changing. That's just the way it is.
Mike,
what about you, Mike?
Yeah. So there's any great lessons that I've learned over this COVID-19 crisis? And I would say there isn't anything great that I've learned, because I think I'm still the same person. Much like Peggy's saying, we adapt, and you have to surrender to the things that you can't make change to, and you got to move forward. But I did actually come up with a new tagline. Actually, Adam and I consult with Adam on a daily basis. He's a great asset to the Sunflow team, and we came up with a heart that says "Clients for Life." And I think that this COVID-19, this crisis, has really brought people into themselves, into what's important. We've kind of forced to only focus on what's important, because we're not allowed to do social or come together and travel and all those other good stuff that we love doing. And so a new tagline came out of this crisis for me, so that's what I'll keep. And I just think reinforcing that we care, right? That we're in this together, that there's going to be a win-win-win. The client has to win, and we're going to win, and hopefully the business is going to win. And just keep the strong message. And also, I would hope the governments would start introducing that you should have 3 months of savings saved up. I remember, I'm 44 years old, and I remember as a kid, like, that was just every day you heard that message. I can't remember the last time I heard that message, that you should have 3 months saved up, because it's scary out there for people that are paycheck to paycheck, and hopefully this changes them.
It puts it in perspective. Absolutely.
A lot of businesses have pulled back, and that's the immediate sort of reaction when a financial crisis hits or something like this, is like, save money, drop expenses. What sort of advice would you give business people about their marketing and advertising to really think about right now?
I would think have a strong message and fight like heck to get that to your clients, right? Advertising works. It works for me. I know it works for Peggy. And radio, I believe, is one of the best. It's changed my life completely. When I advertised with solar, I went from an average business to probably the top 3 solar businesses in all of Ontario residentially. And we own 19.6% of the whole entire market share for the micro program. And that was strictly done by radio, because that was the only advertising we were doing, was radio.
Peggy, you started radio quite early in your business career as well in real estate, correct?
Yeah, back in the day, I don't think there were really that many realtors doing radio. And even when it got pitched to me, I thought, I don't know if that will work, but I have not stopped, obviously. So apparently it works. And that was, I want to say 10 years ago. I want to say at least 10 years. Shouldn't I be getting a present
You get a gold watch.
I think it's been 10 years.
Hey, Peggy, this is it.
Yeah. Johnny will arrange
Cake's
it.
in the oven. Cake is in the oven.
We'll all go for lunch when we can.
Okay, deal.
You know what? Go ahead, Peg.
I think the question you asked was about cutting back, and that's a pretty natural thing to do. And I mean, maybe for some people that would make sense if they're completely shut down, but I would rather give up my Netflix than give up my advertising. Like, my advertising isn't an option. It's not, it's not a frill for me. It's not something I can cut out. I can't cut out because it's the bloodline of my business. Like, if I want to be alive, I got to keep marketing. I got to keep advertising. It's not optional. So for me, you cut out Netflix, you don't cut out radio. Like, you don't cut out your advertising. It doesn't make sense because, there's a lot of things I could cut out, believe me, because there's a lot of frou-frou things that go on my visa that I don't even know what I'm paying for. But honestly, like, this is like the number one thing for me. Advertising is the number one thing that keeps my business going. So that would be the last thing I would be cutting.